Let's make some DX7 Ambient. About 6 years ago, I bought this Yamaha DX7 synthesizer. I hauled it all over the country. And it was a huge pain because this thing is really heavy. But it's my favorite synthesizer ever since. And it can do so much more than cheesy 80s sounds. I'm actually using a lot of presets from MadFame, another YouTuber. And he has a lot of great tutorials about the DX7. But let me show you my recording setup first. I have a multi-cable running straight to the mixer. The first thing I'll do is add a little bit of reverb. Just a hall from this quad-reverb. Then I add some delay from the STE1000, as I've shown in my previous video. And this is a mono delay. So I pan it slightly, with the right channel panned in the opposite direction. Then all of this runs through a bus with some tape saturation on it. Nothing complicated, but I like to process everything with hardware first, before I move on to plugins. Now in terms of MIDI, one technique I like to use is to sequence it from the Arturia key step. I have MIDI running across the entire studio, so I can send it to any synth I want, by simply selecting another MIDI channel. I'll make another video about this in the future. With the sequence running, I can add bass notes on top and improvise melodies when I want to. The unique thing about the DX7 is that its velocity doesn't go up all the way to 127, but to 100. So the internal keyboard actually makes a big difference in the sound compared to an external keyboard. Okay, let me add some effect. I'm gonna add Echo Boy by Sound Toys to add some delay. Let's lower the tempo a bit. Okay, let's grab a reverb, Valhalla Vintage Verb, turn up the decay and the size. Add some more depth. Increase the pre-delay. And play around with the mix. Okay, I also want to add a filter. Because we don't want to have too much high-end in an ambient track. We want warm sounds. And with Filter Freak I can actually add some LFO modulation to add some movement. But let's slow down the rate a bit. Right, cool. Let's record something. I usually jam for a few minutes, and if I want I can record the MIDI output as well. In this case I'll record without effects, as this makes it a bit easier to hear what I'm doing. but sometimes I'll record with effects, as this has a huge impact on your playing. Alright, take 1 done. Oh, I forgot to set the key step to MIDI sync. It was still set to internal clock, so I'm just gonna roll with it without a click. We're making ambient anyway, so it doesn't matter. But let me just sync the delay to this tempo. And Echo Boy has a handy top tempo function for that. And it's actually better to keep it slightly off sync. That sounds more natural. A second technique is to use an arpeggio with a fast rate and a ton of reverb to create shimmery sounds. And the bright metallic textures of FM synthesis are perfect for this. You can easily brighten up any sound by turning up the operator level right here. And with this operator select button, you can cycle through the different operators. The one disadvantage of the DX7, and that's why many people find it hard to program, is that you only have one fader, so you can edit only one parameter at a time. But adjusting the operator level is pretty similar to opening up a filter cutoff on most patches. And of course you can also use the mod wheel for level control and LFO depth as well. Alright, let's record that. I'm also playing around with the rate control of the ARP. Right, what else to add? Maybe a bass. I've made a Reese bass preset, which is just 2 parallel sine waves, slightly detuned. Oof, that sounds pretty deep. I've still got reverb and delay running here, which makes it even deeper. There's nothing wrong with putting reverb on your bass. There are no rules in music production. Alright, one final thing I'll add is some noise. The DX7 doesn't have noise operators, but you can get close by turning up the feedback. It goes in steps from 0 to 7, but sometimes 6 gives a little bit of tone back, which could be nice. Just add a ton of reverb again and a long feedback on the delay. So I'm just playing around with the feedback and the level control. Just add some more reverb and delay and you've got yourself some cool background textures. Alright, there you have it. The DX7 sounds pretty warm for a digital synth. And by now I hope I give you some ideas to get started on your own. Ambient is actually pretty simple. You don't need to be a great keyboard player. And that's because there's no grid. Just slap a ton of reverb on there and you'll be good to go. Alright, let me know if you have any questions. I'll make some more videos about my studio setup in the future. And I'll see you next week with another tutorial.